Okay, so now we're in the sector analysis part of the farm design, and we've got to come up and with observation, information that we've gathered, pick these sectors. So some of them will be detrimental to the site, some of them are beneficial, and from our observations and research, we can go through that information and then we'll go through and conduct the sector analysis. We know we need to go and get the sun angles from midsummer's day and midwinter. You may not have observed this before. The sun angles in summer, you get a beautiful wide angle of sun onto your site. Yet in winter, you get a low sun and a narrower angle. So parts of your garden will be in full shade. And then in summer, parts of your garden will be in full sun. And can get a few problems with that. We need to know where the strong winds are coming from, what direction. Are they damaging winds? We might have unpleasant smells coming from a chicken farm or something else. We might have a lot of high water flow in heavy rain coming across the site. We might have a risk of fire if fire generally goes uphill, and you've got to watch that. So having those fire breaks in there, or at least not trees that are prone to fire in those sectors. We have the access to the site, and we need to include that into the sector analysis. There's things like the views from the property. Do you want to maintain the view from the property? Is it something that a beautiful view is a benefit to the site? We can also look at things like unwanted views. Do we not want to see that view? Is it something that we can potentially use to our benefit and put trees in there that would ordinarily grow a bit too tall to block out that nice view? So all these things we have to take into account. Noise on the site. Is there a lot of noise from a road? Do we get a lot of noise from neighbours? We can put these into the different sectors, and then once we look at overlaying this over the zones map, we can start to implement all these different all this different information to say where we're going to put these trees, where we're going to put and what type of trees and what height. So there's lots of things that we can do with this sector analysis that helps us once we overlay that over the other maps where things need to go. Okay, so now we're going to start looking at zone planning. Now zones are a very important function in a permaculture design. These show how many visits per year a part of the actual farm or the design requires every year. And this can really give you an insight into where you can position things on your farm to use the least amount of energy. Zone 0 is the home, and it's the center of activity. Zone 1, it surrounds the home. It's got the small kitchen gardens, the things you need to go and pick. It can have a little bit of livestock, maybe a milking shed, or that type of thing. Yeah, and in zone 2, we move away from that, constant touch point of zone 1, where we can go with, 2 to 3 days without any attention. So you can have chickens in these sections. You can have market gardens in these sections. And in zone 3, again, is less frequency of attendance. And often used for grazing animals and hardy trees and windbreaks, fuel wood systems. We can have a rotation system of our paddocks in there. So we can have our chickens out there as well, rotating with sheep and that sort of thing. And then zone 4 comprises mainly of a self-sufficient system where we don't have any inputs at all into these things. We might go out a couple of times a year to go and maybe collect mulch at the end of summer or that sort of thing. And then we have zone 5, the wilderness zone. And this we can visit frequently, but we don't do any work out there. It's left to nature, and it's just left alone. Might be a beautiful place for reflection and going and sitting down, or it could be a great place to go and collect some mycelium for, making adding to your compost, that sort of thing. So it does have a benefit in the whole system. It's just we don't need to visit it every day. It can be out on the edges of the property. I mean, you can even have a zone 5 really close to the property if you've got a level of bush that runs right up to the house. It all depends on the design. So this kind of thing is all very fluid, and that's why we implement it as a layer over the top of the sectors, so we can see where we need these to go in and what we need to do with the zones over the top of the sectors, and then overlaying over the other designs we've done, the boundary, the access, the water. Once we start putting these things in place, the picture all starts to come together. Okay, so here we have the sector map, all complete. We've got the centre of the property there highlighted with the black dot, and I've just done a north, south, east and west crosshair over the top of that, just to help us with the drawing. Now, obviously, you need to go and do some investigation on where these angles all are, especially for the summer sun and the winter sun. Very easy to find those online. There's a lot of different applications you can use to get those. And also, with your summer winds and your damaging winds, you can get those from any weather or a Bureau of Meteorology site. They normally have many years of information where you can get all that to be able for you to be able to assess and judge what's going on your particular property there. I mean, there's also you can also talk to people in the local area. They've lived there for many years. They will give you lots of information about wind, water, floods in the local area, what the temperature's been like, droughts. Don't discount just because we've got all this information stored through people that study the weather. Don't ever discount locals from information you can gather for these sites. Okay, so the first one I'll go through here is noise, obviously. So you can see that there's a main road running along the property. You may have seen a lot of cars travelling through my videos. So I've got that sector there marked in yellow, which we obviously would like to block out that noise. So that's I've done the arc there for that. And the next one there we can come in is the orange for the summer sun. It's a beautiful big arc. Love that time of year. That's great. Plenty of sun, late evenings, great time of the year. Okay, and then we pop in one more time just to that sort of bluey purple, and that is the winter sun. And you can see the size of the angle is completely changed, and it's very small. So, it gives you an idea where you'll be getting that summer light. This could be just for growing crops, or where your solar panel is going to be on your house, or if you want to put solar on there. These things are all important to give you all this information to make decisions about your property. So another one here we have is a beautiful view. So I've got this sector that we outlook from the property. That I'd like to maintain the view. So that's there in the sort of purple pink. And we want to keep that view, so we want to take that take that in mind. We get some hot summer winds from the southeast. So we need to look at what we can do to stop those coming through, because they will dry crops out pretty quick. We've also got some unwanted views there with the green. and some damaging winds coming from that westerly direction. Fortunately, they're both in the same sector, so we can see by overlaying this information, it sort of makes the decision for us. You know, we don't have to sort of guess at these things. Yeah, so obviously overlaying all these different sectors onto this map using the house as the center point, you know, gives us a lot of information to go on. Okay, so if we look at the zone map that was done for the property, you can see in black there in the center is the house, and that's my zone 0. And then around that property, I've got zone 1 highlighted in blue. Look, this was one of my first designs, so you tend to stick with what you know. This area here, it's, you know, we get the access from the driveway, the shed's located here. We've got a small little herb garden at the front here, and you know, I've got my nursery down here next to the shed. So, you know, I've just thought, you know, I'm going to visit this every single day. These are all the areas I'm going to go through. You know, and you learn over time, you know, what works and what doesn't, and what things we can implement. And the original idea of this property was to do market gardens and to rotate some animals around the paddocks. So things change over time. So again, after we've finished this design implementation video, or this design video, we'll go through what things have changed over the last few years and what decisions we've made to implement those, and you'll see how it's evolved over time. So nothing's set in stone. A design's not there to be, you know, we don't stick to a design if we don't feel it's going to work, or if we change what we're going to do. You know, we can adapt to those changes. That's part of permaculture. You know, we choose to be able to do that. You know, if something is beneficial to the site, then we choose to be able to change our design and put that in place. And you can see this is the zone 2 here in green, where the market garden is, and you know, it's located close to the house. You know, it's there's going to be some chickens in here as well, and then we go out further to zone 3. And zone 3, I plan to run sheep around the paddocks, and I'm trying to, as best I can, create a sort of rotational system into this design. There are some shortcomings of the way that I've done this design, which we'll go into in the review afterwards. But that comes with experience. You know, you don't know everything straight away. We learn as we design, which, you know, I feel is the benefit of what we do when we're implementing permaculture designs, or we're going out to sites and designing new sites. We learn from every site we work on. And I even implemented a zone 4 here now. The zone 4, is a sort of timber sort of section where I'm not going to go down into here. Obviously, there's going to be some sheep grazing through there, but you know, I don't really have to go into these areas. Maybe just to open the gate to let the sheep through. Yeah, so this is my zone map. So what we'll do now, we'll go and overlay a couple of these and see what things we can put in place with the sectors and the zones overlaid. Okay, so now you can see we've got the zones and the sector maps overlaid with each other. You know, and we start to see the opportunities of what we can put in place. That's all for this video, but in the next series of videos, I'll go through the final design, things that we implemented, things that worked, things that didn't. We'll go through the whole range of things. See you in the next one.